Welcome to another episode of Salty Sports. I'm Sean Christensen.
And I'm Brian McDonald.
Sure. The unconquerable Utah Jazz have had a rough start to the second half of the season. They've suffered a 45-point loss, which is a record breaker at home, to the Houston Rockets, having a difficult time beating the easy teams on the easy part of their schedule.
You called it, Sean. Jimmer Fredette of the lowly Sacramento Kings came to town to play the unconquerable Utah Jazz. In what I consider to be the worst performance in NBA history, Jimmer Fredette led the patheticness by playing 13 minutes, missed all 5 of the shots he took, had 3 turnovers. However, he did get a standing ovation from his girl fan base.
And let's not forget that ignominious final play in regulation, Brian. That was terrible, a real knucklehead play.
Tell us about it.
Sure. Game tied, and the unconquerable Utah Jazz have possession of the ball and last shot to win. They have Randy Foye, a guy who can't create his own shot, dribble out the clock, run into a double team, then kick it out to Al Jefferson, who's made only 3 three-point shots like that in his entire NBA career. This one's on the coach, Brian.
I agree, Sean. You know, a lot of the Utah Jazz fans and the national media think there's going to be a trade in Utah soon. It's either going to be Big Al Jefferson or Paul Millsap. They're saying they want to do this because they want some of the younger upcoming stars or rookies to get more playing time. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Paul Millsap's going to go, Al Jefferson, or do you think there's going to be a trade at all?
That's a good question, Brian. I actually think that there's not going to be a trade at all, considering the Utah Jazz's front office history. They like to take what's popular or what actually makes sense, and they do something that's the exact opposite. And so they're kind of like hipsters, but for an NBA team. However, my grandma did call, and she said that Al Jefferson might be the one who's traded.
Well, that's great, Sean. I love your grandma.
Not as much as me.
Super Bowl 47, what a classic game to behold. No one thought the Baltimore Ravens were going to lose this one because of that super hot Joe Flacco couldn't do anything but throw touchdown passes. However, in the second half, after Jacoby Jones tied an NFL Super Bowl record with 108 return yards on his kick return, it was lights out Baltimore, and there was a momentum shift.
That's right, Brian. Literally lights out in the Superdome in New Orleans where they were playing the game. The lights were out for 35 minutes before they started to come back to life, including the San Francisco 49ers. Colin Kaepernick led a Cinderella effort to bring them back to win the game, but it came just short, and they lost to the unconquerable Baltimore Ravens 34-31, and that crushed all their hopes.
Yeah. And now here are a few of our favorite Super Bowl observations.
BYU grad Dennis Pitta scored the second touchdown of the game in the Super Bowl.
One thing I observe is that the coach of the 49ers, Jim Harbaugh, throws more tantrums than a nursery.
Or more tantrums than Bob Knight after a questionable call.
Or more tantrums than the time my mom canceled my little brother's World of Warcraft account.
Yeah, that was bad. Ray Lewis also had a poor effort out there at the Super Bowl, missing over 9,000 tackles, it seemed. You'd think he'd have a higher power level reading after he brought his cyborg arm to the game.
No kidding. In my opinion, the MVP of a Super Bowl was Beyonce Knowles because she is hot.
If you like her, then you should have put a ring on it, Brian.
Well, anyway, guys, we had a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. You're number one. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
Bye.